Now, Boosie actually came out and he had his thoughts against how they were doing Diddy and the whole sex trafficking thing. But before we get into Boosie's response, let's break down these charges and the racketeering and transportation and all that different stuff. So number one, we got racketeering, which equaling life in prison. Uh, in the sex trafficking, a maximum of life in prison, 15 years. I feel like out of all these three right here, Diddy probably gonna end up doing 20. At the very least 15, but most likely he's gonna definitely do 20. Now, they're saying here he's accused of using his businesses to engage in kidnapping, arson, bribery, and more. Now, if y'all remember, I made a video we was talking about how a lot of people was coming out with these different allegations and stuff and stories about how Diddy has done all this different stuff to these dudes and the women and so on and so forth. For example, Wale, they got an incident with him and Kid Cudi, and there's also an incident with him shooting the lady outside the club or in the club, or someone he hit, not King Kong but Quincy shooting or something like that, some shooting incident, and a lady got shot in the face, but she say Diddy shot her. And let's just go back just to the arson thing. Arson, that goes back to the Kid Cudi incident where they was talking about how Kid Cudi was trying to get close to Cassie, and Diddy just wasn't having it. He got a wind of that, and so allegedly he put a car bomb on Kid Cudi's car, blew the man's car up for messing with Cassidy. And we had the other story we're gonna get into. I brought up in my last couple of videos, and I talked about it, how Aunt Glizzy, which was an affiliate of Shy Glizzy, the rapper, and he goes in and tells this story on how they had Wale feet hanging over the balcony over him trying to do some music with Cassidy, and Diddy just bugging out. And we brought up the time as well when Diddy went crazy. What was that, last Halloween, I think, when he had the Joker mask on and he ran up on the dude that was the actor and they had a confrontation. All these stories and this stuff is coming to light. The bribery. Now let's jump into what Boosie was saying about this part of it. So the bribery and the sex trafficking, this is what I want y'all to understand, but we're gonna see what he's saying first. So Boosie says, I feel Diddy in jail for basically doing what every other famous entertainer has done. Flew bitches out for threesomes. He's just freakier. We actually go call women prostitutes who fly in willingly to be with their partners for sex. If that's the case, you've been flued out and had sex, you should be labeled as a prostitute. If that's the case, that's 80% of the women reading this. Trafficking, you're a celebrity, you gotta fly. He says, how else you gotta get the pussy? You're never in one place. When I saw that video, I was pissed off at this. Like, I really got a problem. Well, he really got a problem. But facing life in prison for doing basically what so many other entertainers has done. Okay, Boosie and everybody else, I want y'all to understand this and don't just hear me, but listen. This is where they getting Diddy with this whole sex trafficking thing with the women. And a lot of y'all need to listen to when I say, especially you boys that's fun boys and boys that's downright willing to pay for it. I ain't knocking what you do, but you need to be careful, because it's no different than drugs, right? Let's say you go and get some drugs from Texas and you live in Louisiana, and you done drove from Louisiana and went and picked it up from Texas, and you driving on your way back to Louisiana, and you get pulled over right after you come across the state line in Louisiana, and the officer, they end up searching your car and finding the drugs that you got. But first off, before he gonna ask you where you was going, what you was doing. You may say, hey, I just went to Texas to go see my homeboy. We went out, had fun, went down to Deep Ellum in Dallas, chilling, hanging out. Okay, cool. I'm on the way back to Louisiana, back home. He say, okay, cool. But he find them drugs, right? And let's say you got a HP of weed in there. They gonna charge you with trafficking, son. because you're taking drugs from one place and across state lines to another. Drug trafficking. No different with sex trafficking. You know a girl that's in Dallas. You stay in Louisiana. Y'all texting, y'all chatting. Woo woo woo. Oh, girl, I love you. Yeah. I'm gonna come over there. Yeah, let me get that. Yeah. Woo woo woo. All right. She say, oh, I want to come see you. Let me come see you. Oh, I'm over here. You over there. All right, you know what, baby? Don't worry about it. You know, I send you a truck. Come on over here. Just and let me get you. You know what I'm saying? I'll pick you up or meet you, and we can do whatever. You know, but you're paying for her to get transportation, and you're making it as if, you know, whether it's a female that's not a prostitute or a female that is a prostitute, it's consensual that you're paying for her to come over here and give you these services. But you coming across state lines with this shit. It's different if she coming from Houston to Dallas or Dallas to Houston. You're in state. It's a little different, but still there's a catch to that. You're paying for sex. I know this sticky, but you gotta get an understanding of where they going with this stuff. You know they charged Jack Johnson with this shit back in the 1930s. The first black boxer with gold teeth. They charged him with trafficking a white woman across state lines. So this is somewhat of the same things. But I totally get what Boosie's saying though. You know, you're an entertainer. You can't be everywhere in all these different certain. You can't pull up on a bitch in the hood. You know what I'm saying? You know that he can't do that. It ain't really safe. So I get what Boosie's saying, but when you're flying these women in, or you're sending vehicles to bring them in, to come in to have sex with you, it's a thin line, boss. It's a thin line. Y'all boys got to be careful out here. It's getting real sticky every day as this thing unfolds. Now, here's Diddy's attorney. Cause you know they got some video that's come out of him being arrested, and they're now saying that Diddy's being placed on suicide routine watch, and says he's strong, healthy, confident, and focused on the defense. Yeah, look, let me tell you, this nigga been rich for too damn long. I just don't see him making it. If he make it to that 50-day threshold or that 100-day threshold, he can make it. If he can make it to 100 days, if he can make it to 50 days, I'm gonna be impressed. Because this is a guy that's used to a luxurious lifestyle. You know, he's never had to sleep in a bed without the sheets ain't clean. You know what I'm saying? He's never had to go out and you know, protect himself or look over his shoulder consistently. You know, he can always call someone and say, hey, go get me food. Hey, go get me this. Go get me that. Be here. Be that. Oh, you need some money? I got you here. You know, so it's a different way of life Diddy gonna have to get used to, especially with him being detained until his trial. You know, and they're saying that he's being on suicide watch and all this different stuff. And now you got his lawyer coming out and saying that, you know, the housing conditions are poor. Of course they're gonna say stuff like that, you know.
We made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. It did not go our way. The fight continues. We're not giving up by a long shot. I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. I'm going to try and minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult and I believe inhumane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Detention Facility. And I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible. I understand that the government has a great amount of electronic devices that they have to download and provide to me, but everything's on the government's timetable, nothing's on the defendant's timetable, and they're going to have to accommodate me and him and give us a quick trial. And I'm going to be pushing for that. He's ready. He's focused. He has been ready to defend this case since he first found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective. I obviously would much prefer to fight this case with him out of jail, and we are going to try to bring that about through additional legal process. But wherever he is, his resolve is the same. He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent, and we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight anymore.
They're not letting that nigga out. There's no way. This nigga done contacted witnesses and everything. You can't do that in no ongoing case, Diddy. But when you got money, these are the things that you feel as though that you can do, and there's no consequence or nothing like that. You know, it's said that he's allegedly Diddy accused of contacting Kalina Harper at least 54 times following Don Richard's lawsuit. Like I said earlier, Don Richard, I think she a part of the Dirty Money or Danity Kane, one of them groups he had, but this girl is a part of it as well. And it's alleged that, you know, Diddy, the suit that she's filed, you know, it's saying that, you know, she was sexually harassed by Diddy on some different occasions. It says witnesses we have interviewed have universally expressed fear. The defendant has contacted witnesses who received grand jury subpoenas. He contacted at least one victim. This constant contact with witnesses on September 10th, a week ago, Don Richard sued. Before September 14th statement by Mrs. Harper, the defendant called her 54 times in one day. That nigga serious. Some of the way in which the defendant contacts witnesses and victims are meant to evade. He uses intermediaries. How you ever say that word? It breaks down the whole charge for you. Count 2, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. The defendant is affecting interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, provided, obtained, advertised, maintained, patronized, and solicited by any means a person knowing and in reckless disregard of a fact that means of force, threats of force, fraud, and coercion would be used to cause the person to engage in commercial sex act and attempted, aided, and embedded, and willingly caused to the same wit. Combs recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, and maintained a person, and attempted, aided, and embedded, and willingly caused victim one to engage in commercial sex act, knowing and in reckless regard the victim one was engaged in commercial as a result of force, fraud, and coercion. So as we break that down, what they're really saying is that Diddy, you paid for these people to be here. You coerced them to be here with your fame and your money. You patronized it by, you know, your whole aura and just you being you and your businesses and everything like that. You solicited. You putting this shit out here. Like, hey, come on, Playboy. We got a party over here type shit. You know, come to the Diddy party. You know, you're soliciting that this is what this is, and we have fun over here. But of course, it wasn't that blatant. It's embedded. Only people that know what was going on was the people that was going there. Embedded is meaning that you already had this shit set and laid out for this to happen, and you're recruiting and you're going out and getting people for this setup that you got already made for them to be entrapped upon. What else they got in here? It's saying that you're soliciting by any means a person. So by any means, no matter where they got to get there, by plane, car, whatever it takes to get them there, you're doing it by any means. That's you playboys, you fun boys. Be careful. It's also saying threats of force, fraud, and coercion. He threatening these hoes. Hey, if you say anything that happened at this party, I'ma sue you. Or he making them sign NDAs or things that, you know, that will make it be consensual for what they done did. Or, you know, you drugging them and, you know, they're not in their right place of mind and you coercing them to do things that they're not in their right mind to do. This shit gets serious, bro. Like, Puff got some serious shit going on with this here, bro. Count 3. Transportation to engage in prostitution from at least in or about 2009. Now, this is accrediting up to what Boosie's saying. You know, this is how they looking at this shit, boy. You can't just do what y'all been doing no more. From at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2024 in the Southern District of New York. Boy, them people don't play. You see they got Casanova. They didn't get R. Kelly, I don't think. I don't know. But they got a gang of niggas under that Southern District of New York. They don't play around, bro. They throwing niggas out there straight to Rikers. District of New York and elsewhere, Diddy knowingly transported an individual in interstate and foreign commerce. Damn, nigga, you flying bitches from out overseas and all kind of shit. With intent that the individual engaged in prostitution and attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused the same to wit. Combs transported, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused the transportation of female victims and commercial sex workers. Hey, you know they coming out with Old Boy. Well, I brought up Old Boy with the last.
As part of this investigation,
where they said, he was a sex worker and he ain't even from here, and he say Diddy was flying him out to have sex with Cassie. This is the big dog Fed that's over this case, and he say they ain't done it, and they done seize weapons, baby oil, buku baby oil, and all kind of freak off evidence in Diddy home.
In March of this year, special agents from HSI executed search warrants at Combs' residences in Miami and Los Angeles. They also executed a warrant for Combs' electronic devices. During those searches, agents seized evidence of the crime.
I'm just gonna stop right there. We're gonna pick up in just a sec, but I want to tell y'all about these electronic devices. They got a software where they can plug your phone up and they can get anything that you ever did on that phone. They don't care if it's 15 years. They don't care if you had the phone for 10 years. They're gonna pull all that shit up. Everything you ever did on that phone, who you done text, what you done deleted, apps you done been on, things you commented on, whoever, whatever it may be, pictures. You can't hide. They can pull anything off that phone. Where you was at certain days, times, steps that you took, all that shit.
Crimes charged in this indictment. They seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and a large capacity drum magazine.
This nigga here ignorant than a motherfucker. He moving like a fucking drug dealer or a street nigga. Why do you... Bro, you Sean Combs, bro. Why do you have an AR-15 with the serial numbers scratched off of them and a drum? You can go buy a room full of guns in your name. You're not a felon. So why you got this type of stuff at your house? You using this shit to threaten them motherfuckers, or you may use it to just in case you may have some heat on me. Hey, they say Diddy ain't no hoe now. They say he ain't no hoe.
They also seized evidence of the freak-offs. Electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs. More than 1,000 bottles altogether.
That shit's insane. The dollar store ain't even got that shit on stock, bro. Come on, man.
Here are some of the items that we recovered during the searches. As you can see here, this is a drum magazine, large capacity, and it contains, I believe, 59 rounds. I mentioned as well, we recovered 3 AR-15s. This is a close-up shot of one of the AR-15s, and you can see right here, the serial number has been thoroughly defaced.
Nigga,
another picture of more ammunition and parts of 2 AR-15s right there.
This nigga here.
Now, I want to be clear about 2 things. First, this office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages in sex trafficking, no matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be. No one should doubt our commitment on that. A year ago, Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice in the Southern District of New York. Second, we are not done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
Yeah, that nigga, he don't play.